evening, everyone, and welcome to the first live Q&A for this evening for the Brooksby Virtual Open event. I'm joined by Speedo and Greg from Leicester Tigers tonight, and they're going to give you a bit of an overview of the Leicester Tigers rugby programme that we have at the college. So over to you, Speedo.
Cool. Thank you, Alex. Good evening, everyone. So most people in the Tigers family know me as Speedo, but for those who want to address me more formally, my name's Stephen Baker. So it might be that you've received contact from me already. And as Alex said, my colleague Greg, who's leading the delivery side of the program at the moment, he's joining us as well. Greg, do you want to say hi to the group?
Hi, everyone. Hope you're all safe and well.
Cool. So I'm going to give you a presentation. I might be skipping over a few things just because I'm aware that our time slot's a little smaller than we have had previously. And I'm also going to ask that if you have any questions, can you please put them in the chat option, or just kind of say hang on to them and ask them at the end of the presentation. I'll also note as well that it will be likely that if you sign up and then apply for this and we have your contact details, you'll be able to get a copy of this presentation afterwards for your reference. So if you do miss any information, we can send this out to you and you can have all the information there. Cool. So just very quickly kind of talk about the pyramid on here. So but basically, the way we look at the program is just one fluid program. So there are two different programs effectively if you're looking at it. So ACE is a selected group of players, okay, that have previously in other seasons gone through trial process or invited in through our academy team coaches, Greg as one of them, okay, and that's selected to 30 places maximum. Okay. However, anyone who wishes to apply to study at Brooksby will be offered a rugby offer, and this theoretically goes into the development plan, as you can see in that third stage of that pyramid. Okay, and I'll talk through the differences during the next slide. At the bottom there, you can see enrichment. Basically, the difference in that is that enrichment is going to be open to all students across the campus, okay, and like I said, I'll explain in more detail here. So I'm not going to talk directly about DICE. If you do have any questions or you want more information on that, Greg will be able to answer it. However, I need to stress that the DICE is invited only to students who have the academic and playing potential to a high level. Okay, so if you're looking at completing your GCSE grades at kind of 7 or above, and likewise you're an academy or kind of potential academy level player, so that's limited even smaller to only 10 places. So I'm going to kind of skip over the details of that. Our ACE and development are very similar. Difference being ACE, again, as like I said, is invited and limited to 30 places. Okay, however, both ACE and development, you'll get a bespoke rugby training timetable alongside your academic timetable. Okay, and that's if you're studying either BTEC level 3 sports science or agriculture. Okay, ACE does get a couple more hours in terms of contact time delivery. Okay, and that's to go alongside their video analysis kind of sessions when we are in a full season, if you will. Okay, so that's purely the difference of delivery. In terms of on the grass, they're exactly the same, and obviously the coaching team's slightly different. So Greg, myself, and some of the other academy coaches work with ACE, and then the development group would be predominantly myself, my colleague Steve, and then Greg and some of our academy colleagues will assist with that when they can, time permitting. Okay, and the enrichment session is open to those who want to study any other qualification. So for example, if you're looking at doing construction or horticulture, anything like that, there is time slots available where you can train. Okay, we'll be able to then give you access to a gym program for you to complete in your own time, and you'll be available to play in fixtures on a Wednesday afternoon, permitted you got permission from your lecturers and you're up to date with coursework, etc. Okay, so there is a rugby offer available to all students that want to come to Brooksby. The green ticks here are just highlighting that these are 100% part of the program. So as you can see through the difference there between the ACE and development is that the ACE do have full access to a physio, nutrition education, lifestyle and career planning. Okay, the development program, as I've mentioned already, we try to mirror that as much as possible. So for example, the development group, your physio provision might actually be myself as well. So not only am I a level 3 rugby coach, I'm also a qualified sports rehabilitator, and I'm still insured to practice in injury rehab and therapy, and I also still have pitchside qualifications for first aid and emergency first aid treatments. And then, like I said, the enrichment, because that's going to be open to all students who are looking to study whatever course they choose. You do have accessibility to these. However, it's very much based on you sourcing these, seeking them, and then we're trying to provide it around your academic timetables or your availabilities. In terms of applying, apologies that hyperlink's kind of not showing up great, but applications must be completed through the college website. Okay, so the hyperlink's there, and then clearly state in your application during the notes or any additional comments that you're interested in joining the Tigers program. There, with that means information will come directly to me and Greg, and then we can start making individual conversations around there for any questions or queries that you have. And the reason why it has to go through the college website is if you're going to study here, it's obviously an educational point of view. The rugby is an adjunct. Okay, so the college will have to organise an interview to see if you're kind of accepted onto the course, or if there's any potential conditional circumstances that might be. So if you know that you're going to be struggling with, let's say, your English or maths, for example, in terms of your GCSE grades, during your interview, you can have a discussion with the staff on whether you'll be able to redo GCSE functional skills, or whether you'll potentially be able to kind of bypass that because you get 5 grades 4 and above in other subjects. If you do have any just generic questions or queries before you apply, then please feel free to get in touch with me. My email address is at the bottom there, so it's Stephen with a V .baker@tigers.co.uk. As I mentioned already, all students will be offered a place. I have had a few questions from people already in terms of how we're going to be doing selection for our ACE places. Okay, obviously at the moment we're in unprecedented times and I can't 100% give you the answer to that. However, in previous years this has kind of looked like this. So some of those 30 places are kind of already filled with academy selected players who choose to study at Brooksby, and then we'll make up the numbers by inviting all other rugby students to open days. And I call them an open day because, like I said, you're going to be offered a place either way, and you have the ability to get to know some of the lads before you join. Okay, and we'll kind of highlight to people in those sessions who's going to be offered an ACE place, or who's going to be offered a development process place. As I said at the start of it, it might be that over the course of the year that you start in a development group, you perform really well, and an ACE spot becomes open, or we feel that this individual deserves an ACE place, and it will be a case that you get put up into the ACE group. We have had examples of that. We had 3 lads last year in that position who started development and gone up into ACE, and at the moment, if you looked at our numbers, we've got 60 lads in ACE, and we've got 30 players in the development group. If you looked at our development group, Greg would agree with me, I'm sure there's 4 or 5 people there who we would, if we had the option to, would invite up into the ACE training group, and certainly maybe 1 or 2 would probably be featuring in our ACE fixtures if they're available to us this year. So yeah, we are going to look to hopefully hold another open session later in the year, obviously COVID and government guidelines permitting, and this will be kind of updated on the Brooksby and the Tigers website. I'll quickly fly through this. So like I said, your bespoke timetables will come if you study sports science or agriculture. If you look to study another course, it might be that you can access the full rugby timetable. However, they're not specifically made to accommodate this. Okay, so for example, we've got one student who's on countryside management, and he'll attend every session that he's available to. So I think there's one session on a Monday which he can't attend because he's got lessons instead. So he only actually misses about an hour of the timetable. But if you have the access to attend it, then obviously you can attend all the rugby sessions that you're available that you're available to. We are currently in discussions running some other options other than the BTEC. So obviously we've had a partnership with Stevenson College, who are a big apprenticeship provider for the county. We're currently in discussions about how we can offer apprenticeship places for students and the rugby timetable at the same time. As it stands at the moment, we don't have A levels available at the college, but again, this is something that we're looking into for the near future. That's just a quick explanation about what BTEC. So if you're looking at an extended diploma, which we offer, so equivalent to 3 A levels. Okay, if you're looking at getting distinction marks throughout that through your coursework, okay, that's the same as this equivalent of 3 A-star A levels. Okay, so if you know you're someone that struggles with exams, it's a really good opportunity for you to get high grade in the course that you strive to do, with less pressure in terms of not having to complete as many, or in some cases any, exams at all. Greg, I'm conscious I've talked a lot. Do you want to add anything before I move on to some last little bits?
No, you're right, Speedo. You carry on for a minute. I'm just responding to some questions what are coming in as well, just so why you're doing that.
Okay, thank you. So just a quick slide about the transport. So there is transport available from obviously the whole Leicestershire County and surrounding areas. So we do have players who get on buses from Nottingham and the Stamford Oakham area, and we have a number of people that have come from Hinckley and Lutterworth previously before, and that's where you can access some more information about that. In terms of accommodation, I'll quickly give you some the kind of information on that. So accommodation is available for students who might live further afield. So again, we do have almost half of our squad live on site. Okay, and accommodation is offered to them on a term time only basis, fully catered, so 3 meals a day, drop off on Sunday evenings and the collection on a Friday evening as well. Obviously the costs are up there. I've been told from our meeting on Tuesday that these costs are going to be the same for next academic year as well. If this is something that you're looking to do, then here's how you can contact them as well. Yes, cool. So I'm just going to put up a number of our players. The years next to these players are the year that they finished studying with us. So the 3 players at the top, Shay, George and Matt, this is before we had our ACE program. This is just when we started our partnership with Leicester Tigers. We're just giving a brief information on all of them. So Shay finished the course in 2017, and through his development with us, not just in terms of learning about rugby and how to play, he completed his refereeing courses, his coaching courses, and he's become a valuable member of our casual community team. And he's excelled in that so much that he's kind of still on the casual books, helping us out deliver our Tigers multi-sport sessions over our camps and clinics when they will come back on. And as you can see in the picture there, he actually got to go on one of our international trips to Italy and coach over there for 2 weeks. I put George in because he finished with us to talk about his rugby development. So he finished with us in 2017. At that point, he hadn't even played county level rugby, so he just played college and club. Very talented player. Attitude might not have been the best. He's a bit of a joker. You know, he wasn't a bad kid, but you know, maybe didn't quite take himself as seriously as he could have. He moved over to Jersey with his parents, and then over the course of the next 2 years, playing for the amateur side there, he picked a professional contract last season, was the championship with Jersey Reds. So that's credit to him, and he said himself that his development with us has assisted with that. Matt's still with us actually on our degree program, and that's him in our office doing some work experience with us. That's just a success story for us in terms of how he's felt connected with the college and with the rugby group, but that he's continued his studies with us. He's about to complete his dissertation this year and hopefully graduate from Brooksby, not only with his BTEC but also with his full BSc honours. The guys at the bottom have all been part of the academy before, and they've kind of got released at that under 18 level. Harris went and joined one of our global partner clubs, and he played in Belgium for the 2019-20 season. He was due to finish this year as a second year of his contract, but obviously with COVID that was unfortunately cancelled. So but that was an opportunity we were able to provide with him. And likewise, Leo and Jordan I've put in there because, again, these are players who hadn't actually got an academy place at the start of their journey with us. So they joined Brooksby in their first year, and they got released at kind of under 15s level. Both worked really hard over their 2 years to the point where Leo actually went on and gained a senior contract with Leicester Tigers after not previously been given an academy place. And likewise with Jordan, unfortunately, he just missed out on the development contract, but he's now up in Sale, Manchester Metropolitan University, and he's on the books with Sale at the moment. Okay, and we've currently got 3 graduates at the moment in the Tigers development group. So George has now had some premiership experience, and Archie and Sam, who graduated with us last year, are currently in the development group and have played some A-League fixtures and England under 18s, and I think they're both looking to be selected for the 20s or been invited to 20 selections this year. That's just in terms of where we play. So not just the Ace League, we play in something called the AOC, which is a national competition as well. So again, we've played the likes of Hartbury's, Exeter's, Hartlepool's. You know, we potentially go across the whole country, and we enter the County Cup, and we obviously enter into as many sevens competitions as possible during the spring season. Roslyn Park obviously being the big main event for us, kind of in that term. I'm not going to talk about any of this. That's just in terms of how we support players. Okay, if you come with us at the college, we don't say you can't play club, you can't play county. We absolutely 100% want to support you as a player, and with close discussions predominantly based on you, because you know your time commitments, you know what you want to do. Okay, we'll come up with a plan in terms of what we feel is your best opportunity for development that week, in terms of if you potentially had a club, college and county game that week. So we'll look to support players as much as possible with their personal goals. That's just a quick example of what a timetable would look like. The top, you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday are separated by the kind of time slots in there. And again, it's kind of layered down in terms of enrichment, development, ACE, and ignore the AOC bit. That's just basically because we had 90 players this year, we split them into 3 groups of 30. But that's roughly what a training week would look like for players. Cool. I'm conscious that I absolutely flew through that because I'm aware of the time. So obviously we've got a little bit of time now. I'll stop sharing my screen. I believe Greg's answered some questions already, but if anyone's got any other questions or queries that they'd like to ask, them, please feel free to fire through.
It might be worth just covering a couple in case people can't see the comments or for whatever reason. Greg has answered this one, but how much time is spent in the classroom on this course?
How much time is spent in the classroom? Good question. I'll try and avoid the classroom as much as possible. So effectively, the college say it as your studies are 2.5 to 3 days. Okay, so that's completely dependent on your timetable. Effectively, if you want to look at it as that, it could be if you look at a 9:30 to 4:30 day, so that's what, 7 hours minus an hour for your lunch, probably minus another hour with breaks. So you're looking at a 12 to 15 hour kind of time in the classroom. Greg, you correct me if I'm wrong on that, please.
No, it's roughly around the 16-hour mark in a classroom. However, variations will depend on the course you've enrolled onto, and also whether or not you are doing additional maths or English, or whether you need to resit them due to obviously not getting the grades that you require. So that will then increase your time in a classroom. And obviously those who are selected on DICE will also then be picking up a rough round about an extra 2 hours in a classroom. The thing with the BTEC though is that the work is predominantly done away from the classroom. So as much as it's a lesser time classroom based, because there's an expectation of more time done in your own environments, producing your work for your BTEC.
Brilliant, thank you. Speedo, I know we did have a few HE people registered for tonight, so can you just quickly touch on that?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I didn't kind of mention that in the presentation. So the HE side of things, we can't offer a playing opportunity with us at Brooksby. However, we fully support students with the off-field kind of stuff. So I use Matt as an example in the case there. So him and at the start of his year, 5 other lads carried on to do the HE degree course. So the first year we looked at doing work experience at Welford Road, sorry, Matoli Woods, Welford Road. Okay, and they worked in the different sides of the commercial business. So each term we swapped them over, so they got to experience working with marketing, sponsorship, events, community, media. So they got an insight in terms of that, and did six weeks termly rotations of each one there. The second year we then supported them with what they were more specifically wanting to look at, which predominantly for them was obviously the coaching side of things and the practical side. So my colleagues in the community part basically partnered up with one of them, and they came out on 1 day a week. So on a Tuesday where they didn't have lessons, they shadowed my colleagues in the community again on termly rotations for different programs. So they got to experience the coaching side of things firsthand. And then in terms of this year, we basically given them, I guess, an internship. So Matt and 2 of the other lads, Kiefer and John Joe, they've been supporting us with our S&C delivery this year. And they would be doing their dissertation. They would be helping us with some studies with their dissertations. However, obviously with COVID, that's unfortunately been put on the back burner. But when we do go back into kind of classroom delivery, they're going to support us again with our S&C delivery with 2 of the 3 groups.
Thank you. We've got so many questions coming in. I'm just going to quickly go over a couple of them. Some of them are relatively similar. So people are asking when we'd be in touch with them to tell them if they've been successful, and when is the ACE programme going to be decided?
Sorry, Greg, what were you going to say?
Pretty much the same thing. I think what we're both going to say in terms of you'll be contacted very quickly in terms of once you've had your interview and the opportunity to come to Brooksby is available. In terms of when the ACE programme will be decided, the honest truth is that we're not 100% sure yet when the final 30 will be confirmed. Now, the reason why we can't commit to a specific date right now is because with COVID being as it is, it's really difficult to be able to commit ourselves to naming 30 kids when potentially there is a host of kids who we've never seen play or met. So there are obviously going to be a number of people who we're aware of who have been in our pathway, but there will be, as Speedo's previously mentioned, players who are out of our systems who will be coming in. So for us to currently say a direct date, we can't commit to, but what we can say is that you will all be contacted ASAP in terms of being given the opportunity to come to Brooksby. And as them days unfold, we will start to get more and more information to you. And at the moment, that's the most honest answer we can give. There will be a number of places which will be reserved in terms of those lads who've gone through the pathway and become academy players. That's just natural to the process. However, that still leaves us with plenty of room for other players in that situation. I don't know if you would say anything different, Speedo, to that.
No.
One question that's come in is there a deadline to apply for the Tigers programme? I mean, in terms of applying to study at Brooksby, the deadline is September, but I would recommend getting your application in as soon as possible. But in terms of actually playing with you guys, is there a deadline that you have set?
The honest answer is no. However, I'll echo what Alex said. The sooner you get your application in, the sooner you get contact and updates, more regular updates and information from ourselves. And just because you're applying doesn't mean that you have to accept the offer. I probably shouldn't be kind of saying that, but it's giving you that option there. And the sooner you get that done and the more options you have on the table, then obviously you can make a better informed decision on what you want to do. On the flip side, we have had lads that started their normal sports course in September, didn't know anything about it, and then they swapped courses onto the rugby bespoke one and started joining us, 1 or 2 weeks post the start of term. So it's not essential if you do miss it. However, I'll echo Alex and say get your application in as soon as possible. An application doesn't mean you accept it, and that's what you're doing. It's giving you that option and availability.
Yeah, exactly. Until you enrol in September, your options are slightly flexible, but the later you leave it, you might miss out on things like student welcome days and other things like that. So it's good to get it in, and you can make your decision when you're ready. That's all we've got time for this evening. Thank you, Speedo and Greg. You've got something to add, have you? Yeah.
Yeah. I can see one more question that we've just not touched on or has not been clear. So there's a question about what school leagues are we in.
Oh, okay.
We're not in. Yeah, so we don't play in the school leagues because the independent schools keep themselves to themselves, and therefore we are entered in what's called the ACE League, which is effectively the RFU Academy Provisions League. So every academy and every professional club. I said the wrong code then. Every professional club, their academies will enter a team into a league system, which is split into the north and south. And from that split, there's a series of games, which then turn into almost like Champions League style knockout after that period of games. And then we have an overall finals day to figure out who's the best from the whole of the country. But alongside of that, we also enter into the AOC National Premier, which sees us running against some of the top colleges in the country. And then we also arrange additional fixtures. Now, when we arrange our additional fixtures, they tend to be with the partnerships that we've got with the independent schools, and that is the time we come across some of those schools. So, for example, in previous years, we've gone and played Woodhouse Grove up in Yorkshire due to some good connections there. We've also looked into inquiries about playing games against like Uppingham and Oakham and Denston just through our Leicester Tigers connection. So the amount of rugby we can offer is vast, and it is all different levels, so that every player on the programme can access a game which is at their level. And following on from that, when we get to the summer programme, we will also enter a sevens competition and be usually involved in the Roslyn Park sevens as well. So in terms of what leagues and where we play our rugby, there is a vast amount of rugby that we offer, and it caters for everybody's needs. And obviously it then becomes about the competitive nature of the programme and players being able to play in their best available match of it, what we can get in it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Greg. Like I say, we are out of time, but I have popped the course inquiries email address and Speedo's email address in the chat box. So if anyone does have any more questions, please get that over. And if it's specifically about filling out the application form, the admissions team are available tonight if you need any help with that. Equally, if you want any information on transport or accommodation or whatever, they can point you in the right direction too. Thank you, everyone. That was very good. And as Speedo did mention before, these videos will be available after if you want to recap on that presentation or the information that's been given out. Thank you. Bye.